Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you had an interesting afternoon and evening last night, watching the drone race, among other things. And so now you know what to buy for your kids for Christmas, definitely. Yesterday, we had a long and very interesting day, in my view. We touched a lot of different topics, and what I will go and do now is just to recap what I think is the major takeaways we learned yesterday. We had a number of panels, in fact, 6 panels altogether, and the first one was about the smart cities, where we had a very broad discussion reaching out beyond aviation on how smart mobility is a societal issue made possible due to the convergence of new technologies, not only in aviation but also in other areas. In some areas, we had an example from Singapore. We learned that this is actually a necessity to be a smart city, not only a choice. The same may appear in certain places in Europe. We need to think about how to expand traffic in the third dimension, that is in the air. We have to be very careful to explain to the public how urban mobility will improve their life, will benefit society. It's not just enough to come with the smart new things and say, look at this gadget, try it. We have to be very careful on how to explain the benefits of the new technologies and the new solutions. We also have to work on the required safety levels, where we can have different approaches or different angles, from the political, no single accidents during my tenure, to technical experts talking about 10 minus 8, 10 minus 9, and consumers are just asking, when can I buy the product? So we have to reconcile these different angles so it is actually workable for industry and for consumers what kind of safety we're talking about. So drones is a part of the solution in smart cities. It's not a solution to everything. We have to be prudent. We have to be humble also. We should be realistic and pick the specific items that will help into lifting mobility as a whole. In panel 2, we discussed the drones operations as today, where there are actually taking place a lot of interesting drone operations, BVLOS, beyond visual line of sight, outside Europe. We also need to consider how we can bring more of these operations into real use in Europe, perhaps distinguishing between what we can do not only in urban environments, but perhaps also in sparsely populated environments where you have less issues of ground risk. One of the things we have developed or is already present in the toolbox is the common methodology, the SORA, developed by JARUS, which seems to be workable, seems to be usable in a lot of cases. An issue to remember also when we discuss the further development of BVLOS is the security issue, more specifically the cybersecurity issue, that should definitely be addressed before venturing into large use of these operations. Urban environment operations should be empowered by better communication on the safety benefits brought by drones. Actually, a good point also from the panel 1, as I said before. So not just introducing the BVLOS operations, but be very, very careful in how to communicate and explain what is going to happen to the ordinary people in the street, so they are aware, so local discussions are taking place before they suddenly start to see drones flying over their head. In panel 3, we discussed the new basic regulation for EASA and the new regulatory approach needed for the new technology. Introducing new technology is not a new phenomenon. The speed of change is new, it's higher, and it seems to be still increasing. We need to think of performance-based regulation. It will open opportunity, but it's not a simple job. It's not just a matter of stating the overall aim and then leave the rest for technical specifications. We also have to be sure that we regulate in a way that is enforceable, that actually people can see that the regulation is transparent. We need to be reconciling these needs and find a way where we open for the flexibility needed for the new technological solutions, and at the same time keeping the legal principles. We learned that large companies probably are more capable of adapting to different rule sets, but especially small and medium enterprises, they need scalability and market size across Europe, and therefore it's quite important to find some common European solutions. So SMEs starting normally in one country have a view to expand quite easily to all Europe. We need to have a close collaboration between industry and regulators. Not to sit down in closed chambers to work out a lot of regulation necessarily from the outset. We need to test, we need to learn, and we need to do that in a mutual learning relationship. So we as regulators can take steps to move forward, but still leaving flexible solutions to emerge in the market, so the regulation will not be a constraint.